Being in the number two seat when I was a deputy chief in Charlotte, that was number two to the chief of police. We had four deputy chiefs, and it's completely different being in that number two seat. When you rise to that number one seat, everything literally is on your shoulders. There's nobody to defer to. And so that puts a lot of stress on you, mental stress, physical stress, everything.
Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
You're listening to the Black and Blue Podcast, a discussion and celebration of the roles of African Americans and other minorities in U.S. law enforcement. Your host on the Black and Blue Podcast is Dale Peters, a law enforcement professional with over 20 years experience in the business. Hop on board this Black and Blue train of interviews, current events, and pop culture conversations. So get ready. The Black and Blue Podcast is coming at you right now. What it do, Black and Blue? Welcome to another edition of the Black and Blue Podcast, where we celebrate diversity in U.S. law enforcement. My name is Dale, and I'm the host. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoy your stay. If you do me a favor and click those like, subscribe, and bell icons right down here on my YouTube channel. Or if you listen to me on your favorite podcast platform, please rate the Black and Blue Podcast 5 stars. And last but certainly not least, check me out on any one of my social media pages for even more content. You can find me everywhere at Black and Blue US. All right, so let me bring on today's guest. She is the chief of police of one of our great American towns. Everybody, please help me welcome to the Black and Blue Podcast, Raleigh, North Carolina Police Chief Estella Patterson. Evening.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, I should say. It's not afternoon anymore. Good evening, Dale. How are you?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Doing wonderful. Send greetings to you from North Carolina, the great city of Raleigh, the city of Oaks.
Oh, the city of Oaks. Okay. All right. We'll have to dive into that. Why is it called the city of Oaks? I didn't know Raleigh had a lot of oak trees out there. Is that right?
And that's precisely why. There are oak trees in every inch of this city. Yeah, over 200 parks with oak trees in every one. So that is why we are infamously called the Oak city of Oaks. And when I first arrived in Raleigh, I had the privilege of seeing the oak fall on New Year's Eve. It was wonderful. Now, I was getting really excited about it. I said, what is this about? In New York City, you drop the ball. Other cities, you have different things. In Raleigh, North Carolina, they drop the oak.
They dropped the oak. Okay. All right. So make sure you're not in the path when the oak falls. All right.
That is correct.
Right. Yeah. Raleigh's a beautiful city. I've never been there, but I know people that have moved out there and they say it's really beautiful. And I see pictures, on social media and all that. So I'm gonna have to get out there one day.
Absolutely. Very green, very hospitable. It is growing at a rapid pace, though, like most American cities right now. But we're going through some growing pains, but it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you originally from the area?
I am not, actually. I am from California, from the West Coast. But my father was in the military, so I have traveled all around the nation as well as the world. North Carolina ended up being home for me because I went to college in North Carolina, and then I moved to the city of Raleigh once I became the chief of the capital city.
Okay. Wow. Nice. So how long were you out here in Cali?
So on and off, probably about 15 years of my life. Now that I think about it, born overseas originally, but Sacramento is where we call home. That's where all my family is for the most part. And so I went to middle school, a portion of high school, a little bit of, junior high, middle, and high school in California.
Nice. And then you found yourself in North Carolina. Well, congratulations there.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Yeah, California's changed, so it's a little different.
Right, it's been some years
out.
Right, and many are migrating east this way. I mean, I think the last time I was in California, I was in San Diego just visiting. It's been a while since I've been back home.
Yeah. San Diego's beautiful. San Diego, yeah. That's one place that's still nice, but they have their problems, just like every city in the U.S. has got their issues, and we'll definitely talk about those. So, like you said, you were the chief of police. How long have you been in law enforcement for the first part of our interview here?
Yeah, so I have been in law enforcement for 25 years. Started my career in the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, which is in Charlotte, North Carolina, the largest city in North Carolina, and then Raleigh is like the second city behind that, second police department in size. So did 25 years there in Charlotte, and then I transitioned over here to Raleigh. I've been here in Raleigh about 8.5, almost 9 months now.
Okay, so you're new to the area. How's that transition been for you, though?
Wow, I mean, it's been good. It's overwhelming. I say overwhelming only because I'm coming from a larger city, so downsizing a little bit coming to Raleigh, but the experience has just been great so far. I mean, I love this city because again, it's so green. We have trees everywhere. I'm an outdoors person, so it fits my personality well. But just learning, after you've been in one place for 25 years to make that move and have to learn all over again, it's a little bit of a transition, but it's
Yeah.
going well. I have been well received here in Raleigh, so I am just happy about that.
Nice, nice. And the name of the show, Black and Blue. We discuss minorities in law enforcement. Obviously the two of us are African American, but you yourself are female. Has the city ever had a female chief before, or are you the first?
Actually, three. I'm the third. So the
Wow.
first chief, yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that about this city. It's so diverse and so welcoming of diversity. The chief, my predecessor, Chief Deck Brown, she was just awesome. And she was a black female, which I loved to see coming on her heels. I knew I had big shoes to fill coming in behind her. But the first female chief at the Raleigh Police Department was Chief Perloff. And she was the chief, I believe, in like the early mid 90s, that area. She came from NYPD. So I am the third, but I'm hoping that we will continue to see more women lead this great police department.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's pretty progressive. You said the first one was in the 90s.
That is correct. Mhm.
That's really progressive. All right. So what are kind of the demographics of Raleigh?
So Raleigh is a very diverse city, as stated. It is 23%, roughly 23% African American, 11% Latino, 45% Caucasian, and then just a mixture of Asian and other nationalities and races as well.
Nice, nice. And had you always wanted to be in law enforcement? What's kind of your journey there?
Wow, I get that question a lot. And I tell people, I said, no, this is not what I thought I would end up being. Never in a million years would I thought I'd end up being a police chief. Law
Yep.
enforcement was not a career that I was looking at pursuing at all. In fact, when I was in college, I figured I was going to either be a professor because I love to teach, be out front with people and help those learn and grow. Or I thought maybe I would go to law school, become a lawyer, just never really thought policing. I was a political science major in my undergrad studies, and really I needed some credits to graduate my senior year. And I said, I'm going to take some easy classes. And somebody suggested criminal justice. They're like, yeah, you could just breeze through those classes. And so I took like an intro to criminal justice, and I was just blown away because I was like, oh my gosh, when I started learning about the law and started seeing the structure of it, and then just the fact that this is a profession where you really get to impact people's lives.
Yep.
I was really drawn to that. And also, too, just for my military, being in the reserves, I'm an outdoors person, I'm an active person. And law enforcement feeds that side of me as well. So it was just a natural match once I got it. And then once I got hired as a police officer, went to the academy, I knew there was no turning back, that this was going to be the profession for me.
Absolutely. And you did say that Raleigh is a growing city. It's got its growing pains, but it is growing. And then as I cut to this scene here, I see behind you looks like there's construction going on there behind you out the window. So is there a lot of construction going on out there in Raleigh nowadays?
Oh, yes. Every inch of this city, anytime you drive through, there is construction going on. Right behind me, I'm in the North Hills area, which is North Raleigh. And in this particular area, the growth has just been exponential. It seems to me that there is a high rise or some structure going up every other day. The building that I'm in now, you have the one right here across the street, but on the north side of of the property, there's another construction site where there's another building going up. So all throughout the city, we are seeing this growth. In fact, this region is probably one of three in the southeast region that is growing. Charlotte being number one, Raleigh being number two, and Greenville, South Carolina being number three. Really hot markets in this area.
Yeah, I bet. I'm gonna have to buy me a house over there. Buy me a high rise out there.
Yeah, let's do it. Come
Let's
on.
do it.
All
Yeah,
that
yeah.
California, bring it east.
Right. So, what's kind of the size and demographics of Raleigh PD?
Yeah, so the PD is, I'm allocated 800 officers and 106 civilians. We're, considered a large police agency. We're the second largest in the state of North Carolina behind the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. Um, Good sized department. I'm so excited to be here. Like I said, I've only been here almost 9 months now, and inheriting such a great police department is just an honor. But with our size, we're going through some challenges, just like probably every other police department in the nation in terms of vacancies and how we fill those vacancies and we attract people to the profession.
Right. And so, how are you guys kind of trying to fill that void? What are you guys doing to kind of bring people into this profession? Because I know nowadays, especially since everything that's been going on with defund the police, reallocating, reimagining, those sorts of things. What are you guys' philosophies on that and strategies?
Yeah, well, I will tell you that, the biggest thing for me is really stressing and bringing back the nobility in the profession. I think 2020 set us back as a profession, and people just probably lost sight of the great work, the value in having police. Because, yeah, you might have a small percentage of officers who are doing the wrong thing rather, but the majority of officers are doing the right thing. And to show that integrity and that nobility within the profession is just so important to me. So for us, as we're out recruiting, we send our recruiters out. I tell them there's no longer a time where in policing where you sit back and wait for applications to come to you. You have to actively go out and recruit. And so we have a team of recruiters, and that's what they do. They go to colleges, they go to job fairs, places of worship, partnering with the entire community to try to encourage people to come into the profession. We stress the nobility of it, but we also stress that this is a job where there's great satisfaction because you are helping people all the time. So we have been out and about doing that. Also, too, of course, we're advertising on our social media pages, our website. We have a site that's dedicated just to Join Raleigh PD, where you can go get information about our police department if you're, interested in being a police officer. And then also, too, doing a lot of follow-ups as we go out and recruit. We get interest, but we come back and we make contact with those individuals, call them, help get them through the process so that they can get hired and become an officer through our academy.
Nice. And earlier you mentioned the kind of demographics of the city. You mentioned 20-something% African American, and some large Hispanic population. Does your department kind of mirror the community, or do you still have some work to do on that?
We really have work to do in that area. Our demographics at the Raleigh Police Department are are similar to most police departments. We have a large concentration of white male, and we want to diversify as much as possible. Being a woman, it's important to me that we have female officers. Right now, we're about 9% female, national average being 12%. When I was in Charlotte, I made that a strategic goal when I was over our recruiting unit, and we were able to increase the number in Charlotte to 14%. That is an attainable number that I'd like to get to. So while we're only at 9% right now, we are taking the pledge to 30 by 30 pledge so that we can really enhance our recruitment efforts around getting women on the police department. Women play a valuable role in this profession. I've seen it over the years, and being a woman myself, I know that value. So we're really working hard to bring in diversity. I am so pleased, I will tell you, with the number of bilingual officers just in the last couple months that I have been here that we have pulled in. We've been speaking with our Latino community, working with that community, and we're starting to see the fruits of that with bilingual officers individuals being interested in this profession.
Nice. So, with your efforts, well, first of all, you mentioned some 30 pledge. What is that? I've never heard of that.
So the national 30 by 30 pledge, where you want 30% of your workforce to be female officers by the year 2030. And so that is a national pledge. And many police agencies have taken that pledge. And so as I was researching, I says, hey, I think that's attainable. We can do that by the year 2030. We can really increase our ranks, making sure that we have more women. And so we are working through our strategic plan, because I told my team, I says, we're not just going to make the pledge without a plan to back it. So we're putting together our strategic plan on exactly what that's going to look like, where we're going to do our recruiting, how we're going to follow up with our applicants and with those who have an interest to make sure we're getting quality applicants, strong women who want to serve this community. So more to come on that, but we're looking to take that pledge very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were talking about recruitment efforts, and going into colleges and job fairs and things like of that nature. But on the other hand, you're also talking about trying to increase your minority numbers. I've had this discussion in my own department of also trying to get recruitment in other places where African Americans and other minorities may be. Not just those job fairs and things like that. Maybe in barbershops and in the neighborhood, for one. Just get out in the neighborhood. My department sometimes does coffee with a cop thing. I'm sure you've done things like that, as but not necessarily African Americans will go to those same coffee shops. So we need to get into the coffee shops that they go to. Like I said, the barbershops and the local restaurants, and do the same sorts of things. Are you guys kind of doing that, taking that strategy, that approach as well?
For sure. We do coffee with the cops. We do that on a regular basis, a monthly basis, and throughout the city of Raleigh. But we have made a concentration in our Southeast Raleigh area, where is our larger concentration of brown and black communities. And we're partnering with our faith community, but also too, we have started what I call crucial conversations. We've heard of courageous conversations. So crucial conversations is where we're really partnering with our brown and black communities, particularly where our officers go into a safe space with members of the community. And they just have conversations, and just, we don't invite any media to that. We don't invite any brass necessarily to that. It's just officers talking with community members. And that was birthed out of community. I went to a community meeting with ex-gang members, ex-offenders, and they said, Chief Patterson, we have so many questions about why police do the things they do. For instance, why is it that when you pull over a car for an expired tag, that 5 officers show up on that traffic stop? Like, what's the purpose of that? As a citizen, I'm feeling threatened and fearful in that type of situation. And I said, that's a valid question. So, let's talk about tactics and why we do some of the things. And I says, in fact, we're going to extend the conversation. We're going to do these crucial conversations where members of the public can freely ask questions, and where our officers can do the same thing on the other side, where our officers can ask the question of, in our African American communities, when we stop somebody, why do you take off running all the time? Those are the kinds of things they want to know. And we wanted to create a safe space where they could talk about it without feeling challenged, or where there would be no judgment. And so we have really started to have that collaboration with those conversations, and they have been going well. And they're small sessions. We do about 3 officers, 3 community members, and they just talk things out for about an hour, hour and a half, and then everybody goes on their way. But I talk about that because bring it back to, that's a recruiting strategy for us as well, because as these individuals learn more about the profession and why we do what we do, when we talk about safety and we talk about the various things, they're taking that information back to people who might be interested in being police officers, and they're being ambassadors and talking to them. Or they themselves may decide that maybe this is a profession I want to look into. Maybe I can make a difference in my own community by becoming a police officer. So just things like that is what we're trying to take advantage of. That's part of our strategic plan with our recruitment. It is so critical that we are in our brown and black community, because there is so much pushback there from 2020. The George Floyd killing, many don't want to join this profession for that reason. So I just feel if we continue to build those relationships, then they'll come around, and we'll have more. We'll start to see more diversity.
Now, playing devil's advocate, though, transparency is all what we need in law enforcement in our community, so they can understand why we do what we do. But again, playing devil's advocate, do you find some pushback maybe from the rank and file that why do we need to tell the public why we do what we do, so they can have an advantage over what we're doing as well? I mean, have you ever heard anything like that, pushback on that?
Oh, yeah, of course, especially our seasoned officers who came up, or a time where you don't challenge the police, you don't ask any questions. If you get stopped, you just comply. And and I understand that because I came up in that era as well. But as we look at building true partnerships and relationship with the community, we have to evolve as a profession as well. And I always say it's about working smarter, not harder, right? I'm of the opinion if you can get people on your side, they become your informal CIs, if you will. They're going to give you the information on who's committing crimes in your community. Build those relationships so that you can have that. And it starts with talking about what we do and why we do it, the whys. So when I get that pushback from officers, like, hey, it's an officer safety thing, we're not going to explain why, what we're doing. I says, think about the relationship that you're building and how that person is going to be beneficial to you. Because when something happens, there's a shooting, when something happens in one of our communities, once you've built that relationship, they're going to be calling you. They're going to say, hey, listen, don't include my name, but let me tell you who did it. Let me tell you where it's at. Let me tell you where it's popping off. Let me tell you where the retaliation is going to come from. And that's an absolute win for us. It's a win for the community, and it's also a win for the police department.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, transparency and getting all that information that you need from the community, because we can't do it alone, right? We can't be everywhere.
Absolutely. You cannot.
Whether it's an 800 or 8,000 or 80 person police department, you can't do it all by yourself. So we need those eyes and ears and to help us out. Yep,
I
absolutely.
agree, 100%. And we've seen it, in this profession, we see it so much that we have those individuals who are going to call you. Now, they ain't never going to stand with you publicly, probably. They're not going to expose who they are, but they will call you. They have your number, they have your card, and they'll say, hey, I'm going to tell you where it's going down and who's responsible for it. That is so valuable to us. And we have to really build that. Over the years, I've seen that kind of decline in police departments that don't have the transparency and that openness. I'm vowing that my police department, under my leadership, will have that transparency and that openness with the community, where they feel they can come and talk to us very openly without any kind of repercussions, or without feeling that we're going to be adverse towards those types of relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. And another prong in that wheel of transparency is also social media. So, this Black and Blue being a part of that, social media out there, getting our name out there and letting the public see what we do, who we are. Is your department kind of big on that, or are you growing your social media presence?
Oh, 100%. I'm always on my public information officer. I'm like, put it out, put that information out, really highlight, showcase the great work that our officers are doing on a daily basis, but also informational. Just the other day, we had a Peep and Tom case where we didn't know who the person was. We had a picture of it, but we didn't have any idea of who it was. Immediately when we put that on our social media pages, we just got flooded with information, was able to make an arrest the following day. So it's just those kinds of things is just so critical. And because we're in an age now where everything is social, where everything is put on, social media, and people are following and people are watching it, I told them, I said, we really got to leverage that as much as possible. Let's push information out so that the public has it and they can respond to it in a timely manner.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen even in instances where you got a missing adult, critical missing adult or child or juvenile, and you put that
Right.
out there, and then people are calling, hey, I thought I saw him, on the corner of such and such, or at the store, or what have you. So, yeah, those things are crucial to get out there, and they help because people on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all that stuff.
For
Speaking
sure.
of,
And
yeah,
and I Oh, I'm sorry. And I was going to say, I use it as an opportunity to, again, to build relationships. When I first got to Raleigh, I was out and about everywhere, and I'm still doing that. But we started reading the comments of what people were saying as we were posting information. And I had individuals say to me, she is in the Black community all the time. How come we don't see her on this other side of Raleigh, this part? And I told my team, I says, reach out to that individual. I would love to go and visit his church or venue or wherever this person is. I would absolutely welcome that. And so I said, that's good feedback for me. I said, so please find out who this individual is so that I can connect with them. Turns out it was a troller that wasn't even in the state of North Carolina. It was just, trolling our social media.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's an opportunity for me when if there's individuals who feel that we're not spending the right amount of time in their communities, that they can reach out to me and make me aware of that, and then I can be a part of it.
Yeah, it was a troll that was out in Hawaii, so they wanted you to visit Hawaii, and hey, okay, I'm
Yes,
down.
let's do it.
I'm
For
down.
that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And social media is a big thing out there right now, and humanizing us and showing that, we're people behind these badges. So are you out there like on the TikToks as well and doing the dances and is the chief doing that?
We're not there yet. No,
Okay.
haven't gotten there yet. That's coming. More to come on that. We're really just, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And so TikTok is coming. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, yeah. My department's not so much on TikTok yet either, but we do a pretty good job on Instagram. So yeah, yeah, it's a good tool to leverage. Absolutely, it is. So what's kind of
Agreed.
your yeah, what's kind of the most rewarding part of your job? I know you only been on it for 8 months, but what's kind of the most rewarding part of your job so far as chief?
Wow. I'll tell you, for me, it's the clearance rate with our homicides. I tell people all the time what keeps me up at night are shooting incidents, homicides, the fear of one of my officers getting injured. And since I have been here, the team has just done a phenomenal job on solving homicide cases. So in 2021, there were a total of 33 in Raleigh. 32 of those were cleared by arrest. It's just outstanding work all around. And in 2022, we've had a few rashes of killings. Our detectives are on it. They are working as hard as they can to really, solve those cases. I think that is so important. I'm excited about that. So just being able to bring closure for families, being able to see the fruit of our work and our labor, that is, I think, what has been the most rewarding for me so far. Because when you have someone who's victimized and they're afraid to be victimized again, and there's nothing that there's no leads, you don't have anything, that is tough for an
Yeah.
individual. If you're the victim of a rape or aggravated assault or something like that. So being able to clear those cases, make an arrest, bring some closure for those families, I think that is so huge and so rewarding.
Yeah, yeah. How's your department been able to handle those rises, those increases in, violent crimes? Have you, shifted more resources towards your detective bureau, towards your I don't know what kind of units you have, but some of those, street enforcement units?
Yeah, it has been a challenge. We're seeing, an increase in shooting incidents, aggravated assaults. The majority, well, I wouldn't say necessarily the majority, but a good number, over a third of our shooting incidents are domestic violence related. Our aggravated assaults are domestic violence related. And sometimes, there's not solvable. I won't say there's not solvability. Those are harder to prevent because they're intimate partners and relationships, but the random shootings that we're seeing, so we have really dedicated our detectives to work into that, but also to the key thing is partner with our federal partners that we have. Met with the U.S. Attorney's criminal chief today, talking about, okay, how do we work together in a more substantive way, because we always say we're going to partner with the feds, right? But the U.S. Attorney's Office has been really diligent about saying, no, we're going to go after the worst of the worst. Who are our top offenders? We are going to make solid cases so that we can ensure that these people are off our streets and that they don't continue to victimize. I'm all for that. So just really using all the resources that we can to do that. We are challenged with staffing, but our detective bureau is fully staffed for the most part, especially when it comes to our major crimes units. So they are really, working those cases hard, making those connections and those linkages between gang activity and who the most problematic individuals are with that. Now, our field officers, of course, they're in their spare time. I say spare time, but they're running call to call.
Yeah, what
But in
spare time?
between
What is
that,
that?
exactly, no such thing. But they're still finding time to do the proactive work where they are in the communities, where they're on walking beats, where they're really being visible as much as they can, to be able to prevent some of this crime from occurring.
Yeah. Now, are you finding that those gangs, that gang activity, is that transient or is that native to the area? Are you finding that they're coming in from, I don't know, what's from Charlotte, from Atlanta, from? up north in DC and New York and all that? LA from that
A little
matter?
bit of Right, a little bit of both, but the majority is homegrown. It's right here. Raleigh has always had an issue with some, um, gangs and that kind of thing. That's kind of in the ground here in Raleigh. Not too much outside gangs coming in necessarily. We do have an entertainment district here in Raleigh where we have seen some gang activity, Friday, Saturday nights, that kind of thing. But for the most part, what we're seeing are gangs who have traditionally been in this area.
Right, right, yeah, and it's tough to get a handle on, but it sounds like you're starting to make waves there, and you partnering with your federal partners and some of your state partners, I'm sure as well. So yeah, great job, great job.
Yeah,
What's
absolutely. And we're going to keep at it hard. We're going to, just work
got
it as
to
much as we can and just rely on every resource, every single resource I can use. I'm going to dedicate towards it.
yeah, you got to. That's all you can do. Try your best on that and work at it, work at it. So what's kind of the more challenging parts of being a chief of police in your 8 months there?
Wow. I'm going to say, whew, not getting any sleep. I said, I'm sleep deprived. I need to get some good sleep.
Well, you look like
Just
you
making
look like you get your beauty sleep.
oh, goodness. My God. No, I said, Lord, I'm going to need some rest around here. Being in the number two seat when I was a deputy chief in Charlotte, that was number two to the chief of police. We had four deputy chiefs, and it's completely different being in that number two seat.
Yeah,
When you rise to that number one seat, everything literally is on your shoulders. There's nobody to defer to, and so that puts a lot of stress on you. Mental stress, physical stress, everything, and so it is tough. And I think other chiefs, I talked to other major city chiefs, we all have the same concerns, we all have the same issues that we are dealing with. It is just tough knowing that you have to make so many critical decisions all the time, and you have to be thoughtful. You have to be thinking about internally the morale of your department, externally what the community wants, what your bosses want, what council, mayor wants for the city, and they're not always aligned. In fact, most of the time they're not aligned. They're very conflicting. Just being able to navigate that. I think that's been the toughest part of the job so far.
yeah, absolutely. So in 2022, what do you think the role of a chief of police is?
Wow. I think the role of a chief, it's a varied role. I think at the core, you are a parent to all your employees. They are looking at you for leadership, guidance, direction, strength. And so just the same things that with our children that they look up to us and they expect from us, it's the same thing with employees. And so you have to be a leader, cannot be a manager. And I always stress to my folks, you have to lead, you have to be out front, you have to be the example. You
Yeah,
must lead this flock, kind of thing. So I think leadership in 2022, in light of everything this profession has faced and is facing, we need a lot of public facing leaders who are going to lead their organization. And then also too, you got to build the collaboration with the community. We took 5 steps back after 2020, particularly with our communities of color. We've got to find a way to rebuild that. And it has to be authentic. You can't just do things just because it's the right thing to do or it looks good. You must do it because you have a desire to really establish and build strong partnerships and relationships with our community. Because really, if an incident happens nationally, you got to know that you have enough collateral, you've built enough collateral within that community that they're going to stand with you, that your city's not going to riot, that things are going to be under control. And for some communities, we saw that in 2020. While other cities, they were rioting and tearing the city up, there were places, because of the strong relationship with the police department, that you didn't see that. It was very much minimized. The citizens didn't allow it to happen in their community. They were backing their officers. They were there to support them. And that's important. And I'll tell you, with that too, that comes out of trust, building trust, and ensuring that you're holding your own accountable, right? If the community sees that you're not holding your officers to a high standard and holding them accountable to their conduct, then you're not going to be able to build that. So I just think as a leader, you have to be sure that you are building that trust within the community by holding your personnel accountable when they step out of line, when they do something that is brings the department into disrepute.
Absolutely. But again, playing devil's advocate, the public doesn't really know about police procedures as far as disciplinary procedures. Police officers' bill of rights and all those sorts of things that have to be worked through administratively before an officer can be held accountable. So how do you kind of work that piece of it with the public and not getting that information out to them that hey, this officer, he's going through administrative investigation right now, but they want action today.
Yeah, you got to educate them. You have to educate them. In North Carolina, I can't release body worn camera footage on my own. I have to petition the courts to release that. So if there's an officer involved shooting, in custody death incident, you've got to explain to the public what the procedure is on that. Because quite naturally, they're going to be upset at the police. Release the video, release the video. We want transparency. I want transparency as well, but I can't give it to you until the judge says I can give it to you. So I think that if you educate and the more you put it out there, we're starting to see the public now understanding that. Many of our activists, they understand that they have to wait on the judge to release those videos or to agree to the petition to release them, kind of thing. And I have been very transparent. I was like that when I was in Charlotte. We saw the benefit of doing that. So when I came to Raleigh, immediately when we had an officer involved incident, I immediately petitioned the release of that video. And in the video, we tell the story and we talk about procedures. The officer is going to be on administrative duty, which is protocol. Once the case is adjudicated all the way through, because of personnel laws, there's only certain information that we can release. If you don't like that public, then change the law. Petition the legislature to change the law. But I'm not going to violate the law by giving information that I can't give. So I think it's just 100% educating people, helping them to understand. When we release our videos on our website, we do a narrative that tells you about the incident, what occurred. We point out things, and we show all the video from the lens of all the different officers who are on the scene. I think the more that we do that as a profession, the better it is across the board. There are some agencies that are like, I'm not going to release the video. Why? My question is why? If our personnel have done something wrong, we hold them accountable. If they're justified in their actions legally, we need to say that and we need to show that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And again, it goes down to educating the public on why we do what we do, and that's one piece of it. Absolutely.
Sure.
So you said you're an outdoor person. What do you like doing when you're not chiefing?
Goodness. Am I ever not chiefing? I mean, I'm always in the seat.
24/7. Yeah, you are, but you get a minute or two.
I do. I'll tell you, I am an outdoor, like I said, outdoors person. I love going on long walks. I mean, that really just refreshes me, rejuvenates me. When I got here to the capital city, I got a puppy. And so it's me and my puppy here all the time. And she is a beagle with a beagle nose. So
Okay.
she's a hunting dog. So we go for long walks. I'm a runner. That really helps me to just get my mind, in the right place. It gets me back to center. So I like to run, but I like anything that's outdoors. I mean, camping. I haven't been camping in some years, but I like to camp. I like to go to parks, just anything. Now, I don't do water so much. I'm not a swimmer or that kind of thing. So I'm not out at the lake or out, out in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pool, that kind of thing. But just being in the outdoors really rejuvenates me. I love it.
All right. And what's the weather like down there? Does it snow in Raleigh? Does it snow in North Carolina?
Yeah, yeah, it does. We had some snow back in January. I think we had a little bit in February as well. We do get our fair share, but we get all four seasons in Raleigh,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Right now it's spring. It's nice and cool. We have a nice breeze. No humidity yet. Summertime can get quite humid here, but we cycle through our four seasons, and I think it's just beautiful. Fall, the leaves are turning colors, and you actually see it. The temperature's cool. It is wonderful. And then we have winter, of
Yeah.
course, and it gets cold. We get some snow and sleet, ice, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't envy you on that part, but the fall and the spring, I love that. We don't get the fall out here. We don't get the changing of the leaves and all that sort of stuff out here in Cali. So yeah, I kind of do miss that. Yep.
Oh, yes. But you're
Yeah.
welcome to come to North Carolina anytime. We'll have you.
All right. I want to come. Like I said, I know some people that moved there and they rave about it. They say it's beautiful. So I've been meaning to get out there. So one of these days, I got a cousin that lives in South Carolina. So I know that's, obviously south of you, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've been meaning to get out there, and one of these days I'm gonna do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Would love to have you.
I'm a few years from retirement. We're thinking about going to Florida after I'm done here. So because we kind of like South Florida, so it's a hop, skip, and a jump. Hop, skip, and a jump.
There you go.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. All right, Chief. I appreciate you coming on to the show and giving me some good knowledge about everything in Raleigh and your journey in law enforcement. But you are not done yet. Like I mentioned before, we're gonna play a little trivia game here for you. So check this out. This
All
game is
right, let's
called
do it.
this game is
Black
called
or blue, black 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 or blue.
All right, so this is my black and blue game, Chief, and your category today is leader of the pack. Leader of the pack. That means
All right.
famous alumni of NC State University. Famous alumni of NC State University. I'm just going to show you a picture of somebody famous from North Carolina. You just tell me whether or not they went to NC State or not.
Okay, let's do it. Ooh, I'm not a wolf pack, but let's see how I do. Okay.
You are now. You are in Raleigh, right?
Yes.
You are in Raleigh. You got to pick a side, Chief. All right, here we go. Here's your first
All
one.
right, let's do it.
John Tesh. Is he a wolf packer or not?
John Tesh. I'm gonna say not.
Wrong. He is. He did go to
All
NC
the
State.
state grads are gonna get me for that.
He did go to NC State. That's all right. We'll catch you up. We'll catch you up here. How about your next one, Grant Hill? Did he go to NC State?
No, he did
That
not.
is correct. He did not go to NC State. He went to Duke.
That's right, the arch rival.
Yeah, arch rival. All right. How about your next one here? How about Andy Griffith? Andy Griffith, did he go to NC State?
No.
That is correct. He did not. He went to University of North Carolina. All right, we caught you up here. All right. How about your next one here? Zach Galifianakis. It's a hard name to pronounce, but you know him from the Hangover movies. Did he go
Okay.
to NC State?
NC State has a large, wide, diverse alumni. I'm gonna say yes on this one.
That is correct. He did go to NC State. All right, we got you. All right. How about your next one here? Russell Wilson. Did he go to NC State?
Oh, I should know that. Yeah, Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Before
He did.
yes,
Yes.
he played on the baseball team. Yes.
Yep. All right. Yeah. You're doing well here. How about your next one here? How about we all know this one, Michael Jordan. Did he go to NC State?
It would be an insult to him. No.
That is great. He did not go to NC State. He went to University of North Carolina. How about Ken Jeong? Did he go to NC State?
Ken Jeong. I'm gonna say no.
That is correct. He did not. He went to Duke as well.
Duke. Okay.
Did you know about him? He is a real life doctor.
No.
MD.
Did not realize
Yeah,
that.
He is an
Okay.
MD and gave that up to be a comedian and an actor. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Go figure.
crazy,
He's a
crazy.
Duke grad. I can see that.
Right. Couple more here for you. How about Bill Cowher? Did he go to NC State? Former Pittsburgh Steelers head coach.
Wow, this is a tough one. I'm gonna say no.
That would be incorrect. He did go to NC State. It's all right. And only two wrong. And your last one here, Senator John Edwards. Did he go to NC State?
Wow. Okay, he's from North Carolina. I want to say Edwards went to UNC, so I'm gonna say no.
You know what? We're going to give it to you because, yes, he actually went to both.
Went to both. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he got his undergrad at NC State and got his law degree from UNC. So we are going to call you
All I do is
the
win,
winner.
no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody
NC State grad. I'm a UNC Charlotte, so I don't feel so bad.
Oh, okay. So you went to the rival school. So can you give up that allegiance?
No.
No. No.
No.
No.
Zero.
No. Nope. All right. So, all right, Chief. Like I said, I appreciate it. How about some words of wisdom on your way out the door here?
Wow. Yes. Well, a couple things. Firstly, I would, my faith in God is just firm. That's what has kept me for 25 years in this profession. And I give glory always to the Lord and all that he has done for me. So I definitely want to let everybody know that, if you don't have strength, if you feel like you're failing, you have got to come back to center by having a strong relationship with your Lord and Savior and your Creator. That's huge. Also, too, for anyone who's listening and that might be contemplating a career in law enforcement, don't be dissuaded by all the hype and everything you're hearing through, the negativity about law enforcement. This is an honorable profession. It is a profession in which you absolutely can make a difference in lives. I would encourage anyone who might be just even thinking about it a little bit to explore it more, do a ride along with a police agency, talk to a police officer one-on-one to learn more. You're going to find that this is a very rewarding profession to be in. I told you at the beginning, I didn't think that I would do it, but once I got in this, I'm like, I can't see myself doing anything else. And I'm coming up on retirement in the next couple of years, but I don't know if I'm just going to retire just outright. I think I'm going to want to continue to do something in this field. So I encourage anyone, if you're thinking about it, to really pursue it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's a lot of things you could do. We didn't get into this during the interview here, but real quick before we let you go, talk about some of the things that you've done in your career.
So, I'm very proud of my accomplishments overall because the networks that I have built and just the knowledge that I have gotten from some things I've done. I'm an FBI NA grad, class 245. I went to SMIP in 2014 at Boston University, which was a great experience. That's taught by Harvard professors, the art of policing. And that was just a wonderful experience to be a part of. Also, too, I am a member of the North Carolina Police Executives Association Board, the executive board, where we provide training for our smaller police agencies, all our agencies in North Carolina, but really it's more beneficial for the smaller agencies that don't always have the resource and the funds to be able to send their people to training. And then also, too, I sit on the North Carolina Education and Training Standards Commission, which is the body that regulates all the policies, laws, everything as it pertains to law enforcement. We set the standard of what cops in North Carolina, and not just cops, but also sheriffs, will be in the state of North Carolina. So it's just an honor to sit on that board, to be part of that lawmaking body that looks at what the standards are across our great state. Those are just some of the accomplishments that I'm super, super proud of. I'm also a member of the Eastern chapter of Noble. When I was in Charlotte, I was the president of our chapter, the Greater Charlotte chapter. And so as I have transitioned to this part of the state, I'm still involved in Noble, want to continue to do that. And so, and throughout my career, I've just had the honor of doing so many things. I started as the president of my recruit class, in 1996, never thought in a lifetime that I would become a chief of police. I just didn't see it in the cards for me, but God saw it fit and he put me here and has brought me here a long way. So I'm very super excited about that, to be following in the footsteps of some great trailblazers and leaders is really just an honor, just a complete honor.
All right. We appreciate you, Chief Patterson, and wish you continued success out there in Raleigh as you move forward and tackle those problems that you guys have, and like all cities have, and make it a better place for me when I come to visit out there, right?
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful, just being able to have a conversation.
I appreciate you. You have a great one.
Awesome. You too. Right. Take care.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
All right, now that's what I'm talking about. Another fire interview. I want to thank Raleigh, North Carolina Police Chief Estella Patterson for hanging out with me for a little while on the program. Keep up the great work out there in Raleigh, Chief. I look forward to seeing where you and the city go from here. If you guys out there enjoyed this as much as I did, click that like button right here on my YouTube channel or rate it 5 stars on whatever podcast platform you're listening to me on right now. I'll be back in a couple weeks with another great interview. But till then, come on, stay with me. Stay black and blue. I'll holler. Peace.
This has been a Maitre D Entertainment presentation.